Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're gearing up for your exams, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're jumping into a super important topic, local government. Now, this isn't just some abstract theory. We're talking about the level of government that really truly impacts your day-to-day life. So let's dive right in. All right, here's our game plan for today. We're going to kick things off with some really powerful real-world stories to see local government in action. Then we'll nail down exactly what it is and why it's so critical. From there, we'll take a trip back in time to trace its historical roots, and finally, we'll unpack a major debate that shaped its place in our Constitution. Okay, first up, before we get into any dry definitions, let's look at some real stories. Because honestly, the best way to understand the power of local governments is to see the actual tangible impact it has on people's lives. Just think about that for a second. Is it the national government? Or maybe the state government? And look, they're both obviously incredibly important, but when it comes to your everyday problems, your immediate needs, well, the answer is almost always the government that's closest to home. Let me tell you the incredible story of Geeta Rathore from Jamunia Talab Gram Panchayat. She started out as a housewife and was first elected Sarpanch back in 1995 from a seat that was reserved for women. But she did such an amazing job that the village elected her again in 2000, and this time from a non-reserved seat. That right there is a true testament to her leadership. So, what did she actually do? Well, this just perfectly illustrates the power of local action. She got the whole village involved to renovate water tanks, build a new school, construct roads, and she even took on issues like domestic violence and promoted environmental awareness. These are real, life-changing improvements, all made possible because of effective on-the-ground leadership. Okay, so that's a story about creating change from the inside out. But what about when a local government has to stand up and fight for its community? Well, that brings us to this powerful story from Tamil Nadu about a small village panchayat that defended its land and rights against much higher authorities. So here's the deal. The state government decided to give a piece of village land to 71 government employees. But the Gram Panchayat didn't just roll over and accept it. Nope. They took their fight all the way to the High Court, challenging the district collector's order. And you know what? They won. The court's verdict was huge, calling the order a gross violation of the constitutional status of the panchayats. This proves that local government isn't just about providing services, it's about protecting local autonomy. These two stories are the perfect setup for our next section. They aren't just isolated incidents. They show us exactly why local government is so fundamental for a democracy to work properly. And it all boils down to one thing: the power of being close to the people. So when we say local government, what are we really talking about? It's this simple. It's the government at the village and district level. It's the first place ordinary citizens can go, the level that deals directly with their everyday lives and immediate problems. It's governance you can actually see and touch. And being this close to the people, well, that has some massive advantages. It's just easier for people to approach their leaders. Problems can often get solved way faster and more cheaply. And this is crucial. Local leaders have local knowledge, which is absolutely essential for making the right call. All of this makes the government more accountable and encourages people to participate, strengthening democracy itself. Now, you might think of local government as a pretty modern concept, but the idea has incredibly deep roots right here in India. So let's trace this historical journey to really understand where it all came from. You know, this powerful quote from Mahatma Gandhi just captures the whole philosophy perfectly. He imagined independence not as something handed down from the top, but as something built from the ground up, where every single village could be its own self-sustaining republic. For him, this was the heart of true self-rule, or Swaraj. And this idea has been evolving for centuries. I mean, way back in ancient India, villages had their own self-governing assemblies called sabhas. The modern version started to take shape in 1882 when the viceroy, Lord Ripon, created elected local boards. Then, as the freedom movement gained steam, the Indian National Congress pushed for more local power. And of course, Mahatma Gandhi championed village panchayats as the key to it all. So, with a history that rich and powerful advocates like Gandhi, you'd think making panchayats a strong part of the Constitution would have been a slam dunk, right? Well, not exactly. It actually sparked a huge debate among the people writing the Constitution. So, on one side, you had Gandhi's vision of village panchayats as the true foundation of democracy. But on the other side, you had leaders like Nehru and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who had some very serious concerns. Remember, this was right after partition, and there was a real fear that too much local power could threaten national unity. Dr. Ambedkar was also worried that the deep-seated social divisions and factions in rural areas could actually undermine the whole point of local government. So, what was the outcome? Well, like a lot of things in constitution making, it was a compromise. The subject of local government was put into the directive principles of state policy. Now, this meant it was an important goal for the country, an ideal to work towards, but, and this is the key part, it was non-justiciable. That means you couldn't enforce it in a court of law, which left local governments with very little real power for many years. And that's where we're going to hit pause on our story for today. We've covered the what, the why, and the early history of local government. But believe me, the story does not end here, not by a long shot. If you found this explainer helpful for your exam prep, do me a quick favor and hit that like button, share it with your friends, and leave a comment. And most important of all, subscribe to the A1 Institute YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our content that's designed to help you ace your exams. Seriously, what we've talked about today was just laying the groundwork. The real game changer was still to come. In part 2 of this chapter, we are going to explore the absolutely revolutionary 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments that finally gave local governments the real power and status they have today. You do not want to miss that. Thanks so much for watching.